Welcome to another episode of Walking the Walk. We are the Walkers for Christ, and today is Prophetic Tuesday. And the prophetic word for today, the Lord is speaking and He is saying, take the first step. And we shall see this from the book of 2 Kings, chapter 7, verse 3 to 10, and I will take you through it. Now there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate, and they said to one another, why are we sitting here until we die? If we say, we will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we die also. Now therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. And they rose at twilight to go to the camp of the Syrians, and then they had come to the outcasts of the Syrian camp, and to their surprise no one was there. For the Lord had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses, the noise of a great army. So they said to one another, look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to attack us. Therefore they arose and fled at twilight, and left the camp intact, their tents, their horses, and their donkeys, and they fled for their lives. And when the lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent, and ate and drank, and carried from it silver and gold and clothing, and went and hid them. Then they came back and entered another tent, and carried some from there also, and went and hid it. Then they said to one another, we are not doing what is right. This day is a day of good news, and we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now therefore come, let us go and tell the king's household. So they went and called to the gatekeepers of the city, and told them, saying, we went to the Syrian camp, and to our surprise no one was there, not a human sound. Only horses and donkeys tied, and the tents intact. So we end it there. So background story, the land of Israel was facing a famine because they were fighting. The Syrians were fighting them. So it was very hard. The famine was so tough that it reached a point that even the people were eating their own children. It was that bad. Then when the king heard that there is a woman who ate her child with another person, and the other person refused to bring out their child so that they can eat them, the king was in distress, and he went to Elijah, and he wanted to kill Elijah because he felt that Elijah was not playing his role, and that is why there's so much famine. And so this is why the 4 lepers, they made this decision. They were at a point that they felt now there is no way out. They felt when they remain at the gate, they are going to die. And when they enter into the city, they are going to die. So they decided that even if we go to surrender to the army of the Syrians, we can either live or we can die. So there was no option. They were out of options. So they decided to take the first step. And that is what the Lord is saying to you today, to me and you today, to take the first step. Maybe the Lord is calling you to start something. Maybe the Lord is telling you to start saving for that business. Maybe the Lord is telling you to start studying for that course. Maybe the Lord is telling you to start healing from whatever trauma or whatever loss or whatever issue that you had faced. Maybe the Lord is telling you to take that first step. Go propose to that person. Go ask that person out for a date. Maybe that is your wife. Maybe that is your future partner. Maybe the Lord is calling you to do something, and He is telling you, take the first step. If this word is for you, then you will know what first step the Lord is telling you to take. Maybe you are from a different religion, and you desire to start walking your walk with Christ, to become a Christian. Then the Lord is saying, take that first step. Pray that prayer. Go to that church. Do something. Take the first step, and He will be with you. We see the 4 leprous men. These are people whom have been afflicted. Leprosy was a disease of the skin. and it had very contagious wounds, that these people were isolated. So you can imagine a leper feels that maybe their life is not important. Maybe this is how you feel. Leprosy is a disease that is not presentable, and maybe you feel that your finances are leprous. You feel your finances are not presentable. Maybe you feel your health is not presentable. Maybe you feel your status is not presentable. Maybe you feel your level of education is not presentable. But the Lord is telling you to take the first step, because the Lord is not limited by what humans think is presentable. These people, because they were sick, they were isolated, and they were staying at the gate, probably begging. And something that is not presentable, something that is neglected, something that has been isolated, that is what the Lord used to save a nation. The four of them went there, and they brought the news to the nation. The nation was dying of famine. The people were perishing. But because of 4 leprous people, probably people that were never counted even as part of the community, these are the people that the Lord is using to save a whole nation. So you might think that you are not presentable. You think that you don't know how to communicate well. Maybe you feel you're not well educated. Maybe you feel you are from a poor background. You don't deserve to be a husband or to be a wife. Maybe there's something in you that you feel that is not worthy. You feel that is leprous. You feel that it is not presentable. But the Lord is telling you to not focus on that. Take the first step, and He will go before you. Because He went before these people, and when the Syrians heard these 4 lepers coming, the Lord caused them to hear a great army. So these are 4 sickly men just walking, very weak steps, but the Lord is making the Syrians think that there is an army coming after them, and they ran. So the Lord is trying to show you that the strength you are trying, this thing you're trying to lean on is not your strength. The Lord is your strength, because in your weakness, the Lord is made strong. In whatever you think is your weakness, then that is not a weakness before God. The Lord can cause anything. The Lord can open a door. The Lord can bring you a connection. The Lord can bless you with whatever you are trusting God for. The Lord can open that womb and give you a child. It doesn't matter what you think is not valuable. The Lord is not bound by it. And so we learn from these lepers that the Lord rewards. He rewards when you take the step, even if it doesn't make sense. Going to surrender to the army of the Syrians, to the enemies who are fighting you and are the cause of the famine, does not make sense. But the fact that the Lord placed it in their hearts to take the step, and they did, even if it did not make sense, even if they knew they might die. In the end, the Lord blessed them and rewarded them, because we see that they found tents and they ate and they drank. Verse 8, when the lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent and ate and drank and carried from it silver and gold and clothing, and went and hid them. Then they came back and entered another tent and carried some from there also, and went and hid it. So we see, from almost dying with hunger, from being leprous and being isolated by the community, they got food, they drank, they got silver and gold and clothing for themselves. And also they went and told the king, and so they saved a whole nation from famine. And through them, the word of the Lord that Elisha had declared the day before came to pass. And I can also take you through what Elijah had said in the same chapter 7. Then Elisha said, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, that is verse 1. Tomorrow about this time, a seah of fine flour shall be sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, and at the gate of Samaria. So the Lord fulfilled his word through 4 leprous men who have no significance in the community, people who are sick, people who are considered contagious, and the Lord used these 4 people to bring a nation to its relief, to save a nation from famine, to make an army of Syrians to run away. And because the Lord used these people, it does not mean that their blessing was just for them to gather and be okay, the 4 of them. But the Lord had caused it in their heart to know that this blessing is not just for them, it is also for other people. And that's why they told each other in verse 9, then they said to one another, we are not doing what is right. This day is a day of good news, and we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now therefore come, let us go and tell the king's household. So the punishment would have come upon them because the Lord was intending to fulfill his word through Elisha to his people, that the food that they were craving for, despite the famine, that the next day, a time like that, the food will be very cheap and available for everyone. So the Lord had sent them on a mission to do what he had called them to do. And that's why they had to do it. And that's why the Lord is telling you today to take the first step, because maybe the business that you are starting is somebody's future employment. Somebody somewhere is praying for a job, and the Lord has promised them a job, and it is you who's supposed to start that business. Maybe it is you who's supposed to start that company. Maybe there's someone who is lost somewhere and they don't know about Jesus, and it is you who is going to be a missionary or a pastor for them, and you're going to save their soul. Maybe someone is looking for an employee who is going to assist them in building their company. And it is you, if you take that skill, if you take that step and apply for that course, maybe that is what the Lord is calling you to do. Maybe the Lord is calling you to do content. Maybe the Lord is calling you to talk about him in social media, or talk about him in YouTube or in any other platform. But you have to take the first step. Maybe the Lord is calling you to be saved. And it is up to you to make the first prayer, to attend the first church service, or do something and give your life to Christ, because your blessing is just not your own, but your obedience is, another person is dependent on your obedience, on you taking the first step. So that is what the Lord is saying today, that we should take the first step, just like the 4 lepers. And he will go ahead of us. He will cause us to be successful, not just for ourselves, but also for other people. So that is the word for today. I believe you are blessed. See you on the next episode.